What am I doing? I'm just sitting here. Like, dealing with something and don't know why. So I thought I would take a walk, but the walk was short lived. And so I come read a little while. So we are still reading. I haven't actually touched it since I last recorded myself. So I had said once I get a former channel that I want to read um, Gone with the Wind or Jack the Ripper. Um, what else could we read? What else would be interesting? I don't know. But I think Margaret Mitchell has a fascinating take, perspective that before we start reading, I want us to keep notes about Margaret Mitchell POV. She's the author of Gone with the Wind. She's the author of Gone with the Wind. I want us to take notes on her POV so that we can talk about it. Okay, so what is a good book by a African American author that I have read? I haven't read it recently. Um, I did read quite a few novels when I was a teen, but I haven't read any recently. Um, so we'll come to that when it arises, but we'll come to that when it arises. I know there's a book I had wanted my son to read about a little African boy who learns to fly in the airplane. And there's also a book I definitely want to read again. It may be very elementary, so I don't know if we can read it together, but if we can, we will. I have to find it. It's a book about an Indian boy. He's a little Indian boy. He gives an account of his family enduring a harsh winter. But I found the book very fascinating because they go out and they trap bears and they make clothes that keep them warm and they use the fur as rugs and other things in the home, and they highlight how they use um, they actually cook the meat into this very intriguing dish that is highlighted in the book. I had wanted to taste bear meat. Not that it sounds appetizing, but I was intrigued by it. But it's illegal to cook bear meat, so I guess I can try some bison. I may get me a recipe on YouTube and just go buy some bison and try it. I haven't heard of any powwows or Indian festivals near here lately. I'm trying to think of where the closest reservation would be. Haven't been, don't know anything about it, but I know there was a festival um, in the news out west. But and I would get in a car. I would get a car or an RV and get on the road. I would love to go to a festival. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to have anything of that nature. If they were, we would be having tons of festivals right now: blues, jazz, soul food, seafood, um, alcohol, beer, you name it. This is the time for us to be having our fest. So we're not having any right now. So I'm pretty sure no one else is having it. So with that being said, let's get back going with our book. And we were only on page 7. Oh my God. So let's see where we can go. Okay. Pagnucci said simply, not this time. This is very sensitive. Wash Hathali told me, very sensitive. Wash tends to state the obvious in a grave, portentous manner, the self-commissioned voice of wisdom. Take a look. Martin shot a brown expandable folder across the glimmer of the table. A test I feared at once, and felt a bolt of anxiety cooking my thorax. But inside all I found were 18 checks. They were drawn on what we call the 397 settlement account, an escrow administered by G&G, which contains 288 million scheduled to be paid out shortly to various plaintiffs in settlement of a massive air crash brought against Transnational Air. TN, the world's biggest airline and travel concern, is G&G's largest client. We stand up for TN in court. We help TN buy and deal and borrow. With its worldwide hotels and resorts, its national catering business, its golf courses, airport, parking lots, and rental car subsidiaries, TN lays claims to some part of the time of almost every lawyer around here. We live with the company like family in the same home, tenanted on 4 floors of the TN Needle just below the world corporate headquarters. The checks inside the folder had all been signed by Bert in his flourishing maniac hand, each one cut to something called Litoplex Ltd. In an amount of several $100,000. On the memo lines of the draft, Bert had written litigation support, document analysis, computer models, expert witnesses. The engineers run amok in air crash cases. What's Litoplex? I asked. Martin, to my amazement, waggled a finger as if I'd said something adroit. So we see 2 words on this page that I have not encountered: portentous and adroit. I'm going to highlight those so that I can reference them later. Not incorporated or authorized to do business in any of the 50 states, he said. Not in any state assumed names registry, Carl checked. Nodding, Carl added like an omen myself. Carl Pagnucci, born Carlo, is 42, the youngest of 3, was stinging with words and stingy with words. A lawyer's lawyer who holds his own speech in the same kind of suspicion with which Woody Hayes viewed the forward pass. He's a pale little guy with a mustache like one of those round brushes that comes with your electric shaver. In his perfect suit, somber and tasteful, with a flash of gold from his cufflinks, he reveals nothing. Assessed to the news that Bert, my screwball colleague, had written millions of dollars of checks to a company that didn't exist, I felt some peculiar impulse to defend him, my own long-time alliance with the wayward. Maybe somebody asked him to do it, I said. That's where we started, Wash replied. He'd taken his stout figure back to the brioche. This had come up initially, Wash said, when Glendora Gaines, our staff supervisor in accounting, noticed these large disbursements with no backup. Glendora searched 3 times for any paper trail. Wash told me invoices signed off, memo from Jake. Under our procedures, Bert was allowed to write checks on the 397 account only after receiving written approval from Jake Eager, a former partner in this firm who is now the general counsel at TN. And there is none. And there is none. We've even had Glendora make inquiries upstairs with her counterparts at TN. The folks who handle the accounts from 397, nothing to alarm them. You understand that we had some stray correspondence for this Litoplex, blah, blah, blah. Martin tried the same approach with 1 or 2 of the plaintiff's lawyers in the hope they knew something we didn't. There's nothing, he said, not a scrap. Nobody's ever heard the name. Wash is more shifted and smart, but looking at him, his little spots and waddles, his discreet twitches, and little bit of mouse gray hair, he insists on pasting across his scalp. I detect the freckle expression he has written when he is sincere, not to mention he added the endorsement. I missed that. Now I took note on the back of each check of the bilingual green block stamp of the International Bank of Finance in Pico, Luan. Pico, a tiny Central American nation, a hangnail on the toe of the Yucatan, is a pristine haven of fugitive dollars and absolute bank secrecy. There are no signatures on the check backs, but what I looked for the account number was inscribed in each beneath the stamp a straight deposit. Now this is the kind of stuff that I like to read for because where the hell, and it happens, it happens, believe me, crazier things have happened. Where the hell will I encounter a tiny, a tiny bank on the hangnail toe of the Yucatan? You know what I'm saying? Where they probably have lots of stolen money deposited. Where would I encounter that in my personal life? Like I say, crazy things happen. You don't know where you encounter it. But I find that fascinating. But the way my mind works is, who owns this bank? Who instituted this bank? That would tell us a lot of things. That's why I need to stop asking so many questions and trust the Lord. I need to stop asking so many questions and trust God. I do. Because what's the answer to that question? Who who established the bank? A prime minister of some small country, Monaco. I don't know, I'm guessing. That sounds preposterous, but I'm just guessing. A drug lord that became a billionaire committing crime, you know, a crime boss. A politician, a lawyer, a doctor, preacher. Why would a preacher do? Well, there's quite a few very wealthy preachers here in America. Why would a preacher do that? Let me get out of people's business. Praise God. We don't want anybody to be investigated for anything inappropriate. We don't want to be investigated for anything inappropriate. I'm just throwing out wild assumptions. Because if we find out who instituted the bank, what could that tell us about society as a whole? Then we need the Lord, baby. That's what it tells us. So let me stop asking questions. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my mom almost got my behind whooped one time. I was asking all kind of questions. I had homework, and so I started. It was about the galaxy. Started asking questions, and baby, she said, "Honey," she said, "I asked too many questions." She was sick of me. There was one time I almost got spanked for being too smart. But anyway, a straight deposit. I was like, we tried calling the bank, said Martin. I explained to the general manager that we were merely trying to confirm that Robert Kamen had rights of deposit and withdrawal on account 476642. I received a very genial lecture on the bank secrecy laws in Pico and replied, "Quite a clever fellow, this one. With that beautiful accent, just a piece of work you'd expect in that business." Like trying to grab hold of smoke, I asked if he was familiar with Mr. Kamen's name. Not a word I could quote, but I thought he was saying yes. God knows he didn't say no. And what's the total? I thumbed the check. Over 5.5 million, said Carl, who was always quickest with figures. 5.6 and some change, actually. With that, we were all briefly silent and awed by the gravity of the number and the daring of the feat. My partner writhed in further anguish, but on closer inspection of myself, I found I was vibrating like a bell. that had been struck. What a notion, grabbing all that dough and hiding out for parts unknown. The wealth, the freedom, the chance to start anew. I wasn't sure if I was more shocked or thrilled. Has anybody talked to Jake? That seemed like the next logical step to me. Tell the client they've been had. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there, even though it's only a couple of pages, because I did a lot of talking. So I don't know if these kind of books are for me, because it leads me to a lot of questions. But I want to go ahead and finish it because I don't like that I started and didn't finish. But I think one of the first videos I'm gonna do, God willing, and things get back to normal. And when I say we have to ask, because we could actually be at the end of the age, and this is getting too deep. It's getting too deep. But things go back to normal. I want to vlog a road trip to a Indian festival, and I also want to make me a cooking video. I'm going to buy me some bison. What the hell would you do with bison? Well, I guess I can make a burger without knowing an Indian recipe. I can make a burger, bison burger. But would be more interesting with the Indian recipe, I suspect. So I think I'm gonna make a video about a bison recipe. So what the hell you want to cook Indian food for? We have a wonderful Indian history here. Unfortunately, wherever the Indians are, they were either completely wiped out or relocated, because we have a great all we see here is what used to be of the Indian tribes. And I can go, I know a couple of girls that the first thing you see about their race is African, but you also see prominent Indian features. You wouldn't know that my dad, you can look at my dad and see his Indian feature, but you can look at my grandma and see her Indian feature. She had hip-length hair. He had my dad was a very red man with, no, I'm talking about red, almost an orange red, with silky hair. So you can see their Indian feature, but you can't see mine. So unless I said that, you wouldn't know it. But if you drive around town, there's a lot of Indian things here that show that there had to be a population somewhere here in Louisiana. But that would be great if I could go and see where do they have any Indians here anywhere in the whole state. It's not, they're not here locally where I am. So I would suspect if I want to do a vlog about going to an Indian event, I'll have to go out west. Now I understand that there's a reservation somewhere, a casino or something, somewhere run by Indians, but nearby. And this is casino country, so. But I'll see what I can come across. But yeah, I want to do a formal video about cooking some bison. So I guess some bison burgers it is. And I don't know what else I can fix to go with it.